Watch this.
2 days after conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed in Utah, Idaho's second in command is calling on Idahoans to turn down the temperature. $500,000 can't buy you peace of mind, but it can help fund a vaccine that just might keep breast cancer from returning. A college kid from Oregon built a Lego set so impressive it ended up on store shelves, and now people around the world are putting it together brick by brick. Idahoans across the state continue to mourn and discuss the political assassination of conservative commentator and activist Charlie Kirk. He was shot dead during an event at Utah Valley University this week, 5 hours south from Boise. This morning, a 22-year-old from Utah was taken into custody. Questions hang about the specific motivations and actions that led to the murder. And as we wait for answers, conversations about politics and violence continue across the country, including here in Idaho. And the timeliness of it all, the 24th anniversary of September 11th, a unifying time in our country. I spoke about this entire situation with Lieutenant Governor Scott Betke. We talked about it in detail.
A lot of strong opinions out there, but we must remember that this was a fellow human being, a father, a son, a husband that was killed in cold blood in front of everybody. That cannot be acceptable, and that can't be explained away. That is not right. Period.
And it just happened, a number of hours south from where we're sitting here in the studio today. I mean, it's chilling when I talk to leaders here in Idaho.
Well, and there's just no words. I mean, it was appalling on every level, and now our media is instantaneous with graphic pictures. It was upsetting and still is.
And I know that there's been a lot of commentary, too, about the divide of this country. And we're taping this on September 11th. So, thinking back 24 years ago, I know that one of the popular topics on September 11th every year, where were you? September 11th, 2001.
Well, I was in Cambridge, Idaho. And I remember watching that unfold and in the morning. And then my wife calling, and she says, "Are you watching this?" And whatever we were doing in Cambridge, and we were doing important stuff, I'm sure, but all I wanted to do was get home, get with the family, and kind of digest all of this stuff. It truly changed our lives, I think, that day, and and we need to remember that whole situation. I don't know. It's disappointing that we live in a world like that, but we've got to come to grips with that, and then within our sphere of influence, try to make it as better and try to make it as good as we possibly can. We are better than these extreme examples of extreme violence. And I know that may sound on some level Pollyanna, but I can't fix everything. But there are certain things that I can fix. I can certainly control my own behavior and what I say and do. And I think if we all did that, we would all be better off. And anyway, I think that reaches into Idaho. And we all, we've taken for granted the safety that we feel here, and that doesn't happen here. I don't think we can say that any longer. And so we all have to do our part. And all of the great things that is happening to Idaho doesn't mean anything. All the economic numbers, all the first or top 5 in this list or that list doesn't mean anything if our communities are not safe. And so concentrating on the fundamentals, again, community safety, et cetera, are kind of what we're about. We can never forget the first responders and the sacrifices that they and their families make every day in our behalf, and we tend to take that for granted. And at least on a day like today, we should pause and remember. And maybe that spills into tomorrow and next week and into next month as well.
My full conversation with the Lieutenant Governor, diving into major Idaho topics this Sunday morning, 9 o'clock on Viewpoint, right here on 7. Yesterday here on the 208, our Aspen Shumpert reported a story about how a group called Bridging the Gap. It's a support group that serves as a safe space for parents, students, and school officials to have conversations about suicide and bullying. And at the end of that story, we showed a graphic displaying the 988 number for Idaho's crisis and suicide hotline and asked people to call it if they or someone they know is in need of help. It did prompt an important question from one of our viewers. David Jensen sent us this message during the show. I recently read that the 988 hotline cannot help callers who are underage unless they have parental consent. Is that correct? It's a great question, and the answer is yes. Our Abby Davis reported this earlier this month. It's because of the Parental Rights Act here in Idaho, and that took effect about a year ago. Under that law, parents must approve medical and mental health care for their children unless they have already given consent or the child's life is in immediate danger. And because of that requirement, the director of the hotline told us it's limited in its ability to help some children and teens who call the 988 number. Representative Barbara Ehart co-sponsored the law and has said she's open to conversations about potential changes. During the last legislative session, a push was made to add an amendment to the Parental Rights Act that would exclude the 988 hotline from the parental consent requirements. But lawmakers did run out of time before action was taken. We will see if lawmakers return to the conversation in January at the next legislative session. Right now, a $500,000 grant is giving a major boost to a breast cancer vaccine trial here in Western Washington. Natalie Swaby from our sister station in Seattle reports on what UW researchers are calling a game changer.
This grant means more patients will get access to a clinical trial that's testing the vaccine's potential to prevent breast cancer recurrence and to transform patient outcomes.
At University of Washington's Cancer Vaccine Institute, this freezer vat works like a bank for blood cells, storing the lab samples from a breast cancer vaccine trial that Dr. Will Gwint calls promising.
I would say the vast majority have shown positive benefit from this.
For someone like me who's been through cancer treatment and is, knock on wood, doing well, a cancer vaccine would mean that I don't have to worry as much about recurrence.
Former NBC Nightly News correspondent Kristen Dahlgren launched the Cancer Vaccine Coalition.
These vaccines are igniting our immune systems. They're training them, giving them the blueprint to look for any cancer should it pop up and to eliminate it.
Her national nonprofit and the V Foundation are providing a $500,000 grant that will expand UW Medicine's clinical trial.
The right candidate for this trial are individuals who've been recently diagnosed with stage 1 to 3 HER2 positive breast cancer.
The grant will allow the trial, which currently treats 16 patients, to add 9 more.
What we're doing in this project is actually integrating our vaccine within standard chemotherapy and HER2-directed therapy to really kind of boost a very strong cancer-killing immune response that hopefully will go throughout the body and not just attack the cancer now, but prevent it from coming back in the future.
We could wait decades for the approval process to happen, for all of these trials to be completed, or we could fund them and we can do something to move these treatments faster to the patients that need them.
Researchers say this work is so important because in the U.S., more than 280,000 people are diagnosed with breast cancer every year. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
Heavy week. We can all use a good news reset, and today we're going to take you up to Portland, Oregon, where a love of Legos helped a man turn his design into reality. His original design is now on store shelves. Devon Haskins spoke with the Lego creator who has this story.
20-year-old Alex Solly.
So this is part of my Lego collection.
Has a love for Legos.
I have all kinds of things. I mean, I've been collecting for a number of years.
From small.
This is probably my favorite right here, the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
To big.
This is the Titanic.
He's built them all.
This is the Saturn V rocket that took people to the moon in 1969.
His first set was his mom's.
You know, that was always a special set for me, and that's what got me hooked.
And as the years went by, he moved on from building sets.
This is my log cabin.
To designing his own.
So this was my original idea, and then all of the expanded stuff I added.
Using a Lego program online, he says he's built 40 or 50 of them, submitting 6 of them for review.
This is my original model that I submitted.
In 2022, he created a Lego village, modeled after homes in the Italian Riviera.
So my inspiration for this was a trip I was about to take, and I was all excited, and I was doing a bunch of research.
He submitted his idea to LEGO.
It's always been a dream.
And after receiving the necessary 10,000 votes from other creators,
I thought this was a cool idea, but I was worried they wouldn't approve it.
LEGO designers not only approved it, they helped him perfect it.
Here we go. So this is the Italian Riviera. It is almost 3,300 pieces.
3,251 to be exact. In August, after 3 years of work, it was officially for sale. He says it was a surreal experience putting it together for the first time.
A little bit, yeah.
Some ideas they added.
There's the crab. That's a fun one, too.
Others, his own little surprises.
So there's a mini figure right here of me with my camera, because I'm always taking pictures.
The Grant High School grad is now a junior at Cal Poly and studying computer science, who can proudly say his design made it to store shelves.
It's really fun to make it your own and pick out all the stories from it and kind of figure out what it means to you.
After hurting himself in a fall, a Colorado man found himself on permanent disability, bound to a wheelchair. But he decided to not let the limitations of his situation slow him down.
There's not a lot of activities or anything to do here at the apartment building.
If getting out and about is the problem,
You get a little stir crazy in here.
Guy Orvis has the perfect solution.
That's the lazy boy.
Why leave the comforts of his living room
I hate to be cooped up.
when Orvis
It's got twin motors on
can take the living room with him?
there. It's just comfortable as hell. You know, my regular wheelchair is okay, but it doesn't steer the same as this.
On sunny days in downtown Denver,
It's the only way to travel. Huh?
you might find Orvis
Every man cave needs one of these.
on his lazy boy
You
wheelchair.
don't have to get up to go to the refrigerator to get a beer.
After seeing the idea online,
How fast can that go? About 6.5 miles an hour.
he spent a couple weekends taking an old wheelchair apart
It looks pretty interesting.
and mounting his recliner on the wheels and motor.
That's how we roll, right?
And no matter where he goes,
That's nice. That's neat. I bet you could patent that and sell it.
he gets a reaction.
That's one of the main reasons I like bringing it out. People just see it, they smile.
That is the man.
If it's not the fog machine he placed on the back, if it's not
That's nice.
And it pulls wheelies.
his fancy moves,
That is cool.
Yeah, he got a fantastic chair. That's pretty neat, man.
Hey, I like that, huh?
I've never seen that before.
People love his chair
Everybody seems to like them, so.
Well, I like it.
just for the idea of it.
I'm 4 months pregnant. I want to sit in there.
Loving it. Laziness to its ultimate degree.
But if you ask Orvis, it's not at all about being lazy.
It's my smoking chair. It's yours reclined?
It's about making the best
okay.
of a bad situation.
Are you genuinely in need of a wheelchair?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my regular chair won't make it real far, but this one will.
Years ago, he was seriously injured in a fall,
My right knee.
ending his career, placing him on permanent disability.
Let me run in here.
While he can get up and walk, Orvis has a lot of trouble, especially over long distances.
And I'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Everybody wants a chair like that.
If they don't want the chair,
It's great for football season.
You gotta get the wheels in there.
they all want a picture.
Hey, have a good day.
You too, man. Wait.
He just might be
But he just don't want to stay still.
the most photographed stranger in Colorado.
It's really funny. Everybody enjoys seeing it. Every time I bring it out, it's like the first time I bring it out.
I like to say that's pretty different.
Taking his living room wherever he goes
That was a tight squeeze.
so he can keep on living.
Yeah, it beats the hell out of walking, huh?
With photojournalist Corky Scholl.
Seriously, can I sit on your lap and take a picture?
Oh, no, I might get arrested.
Nelson Garcia, 9 News.
Allison Haberacker from Colorado Springs is just 13 years old. For the past 4 months, she's been recovering from a heart transplant. After months of recovery time, she was sick of the food at the hospital, so she decided to do something about it.
I want some fried pickles. But there was like no place close that had fried pickles. You know, I get things done. You make a petition because petitions do stuff. It was like kind of like a rumor around the hospital, like, there's a petition for fried pickles, go sign it. They brought me fried pickles to try. I'm like, oh, we're going to get it on the menu.
The flavor was so good. I absolutely love them. She definitely picked out a really good fried pickle.
Number 2! So I thought it was just going to be like a hospital thing. But then they're like, oh yeah, you might be on like the news or on the radio. And I'm like, okay. Like, I didn't think I'd go that far, but okay, I'm fine with that.
I thought it was amazing that she was able to do that while, you know, stuck in the hospital when you're kind of stuck in bed all day. And it's very easy to get kind of down and depressed being in that situation. And she was able to find something that brought her joy and also everybody else joy, because everybody there, except for a few exceptions, really loved fried pickles.
You know, I want to be on the news, but not for something like vandalism.
The nice juicy center with the nice crispy outside.
Yeah. She's definitely part of my heart and what keeps me chugging along, even with everything being so difficult in life. She makes things a lot brighter.
We are on the tail end of that wet and stormy weather that we've seen for the second half of this work week. We're getting some wraparound moisture in our mountains for the most part as that system is exiting our region. Looks like it's probably going to stay in higher terrain this evening and far south along that Idaho-Nevada border. Meanwhile, Treasure Valley and Magic Valley likely staying dry for the rest of this evening. Now, Treasure Valley will probably dip into the 60s sometime between 8 and 9 p.m. So if you're heading out to the Hyde Park Street Fair or just heading out and about for your Friday night, you probably want to bring a jacket with you because it is getting a little cool. Now, it's not completely out of the question for the Treasure Valley or the Magic Valley to see a spot storm or shower occur still this afternoon. You can see that the storm prediction map shows that green shaded area right over the valley, so it's still a possibility, although those storms do look like they would be non-severe at this point. We have a ridge of high pressure that will move in really quickly for the weekend, so that will bring our temperatures back up tomorrow. 80s for the Treasure Valley, mid-70s for the Magic Valley and the mountains, while Stanley looks at a high of 67 degrees tomorrow. Come Sunday night, we have another system moving in the afternoon. That will bring back our chance for precipitation. Some storm activity is possible. We could see up to an inch of rain possibly on Sunday evening into Monday morning. Those storm chances linger Monday morning, and we'll have cooler air move in. So to start the next work week, we're looking at a high of 70 degrees for Boise on Monday.
Feeling like fall. Thank you, Adrielle. On the heels of the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, Boise State students gathered last night for a vigil honoring his life. Also in other news, a suspect for a shooting in Boise's North End was captured in Washington State. We have that and more in the 411. Here's Hector Mendoza.
Charlie Kirk continues to be memorialized here in Idaho. Boise State University students hosted a vigil to honor Kirk last night. Kirk founded Turning Point USA, an organization that advocates for conservative politics on high school and college campuses. BSU's Turning Point chapter hosted Kirk in April as a part of his debate tours. A suspect in a shooting in Boise is behind bars after police stopped him in Washington. Last Saturday, a man was shot in Boise's North End. The Boise Police Department says it happened just before 11 o'clock on West Forsythia Drive. When officers got to the scene, they found a man with non-life-threatening injuries. That man was taken to a hospital and later released. Police identified 34-year-old Bennett Lemke from Caldwell as the suspect in the shooting. Officers arrested him Wednesday night in Thurston County, Washington. He's charged with robbery and aggravated battery. And the Meridian Police Department wants you to watch out for a cryptocurrency scam. Police say people living in the city have gotten letters in the mail that include child sexual abuse material. The letters say the person's email has been hacked and demand immediate payment in the form of cryptocurrency. If you receive one of these letters, save it and call local law enforcement so you can give it to them. Meridian police say that they don't know who's sending these letters, but they're being mailed from Canada. And the countdown is on to America's 250th birthday. Today, the Idaho congressional delegation sent a letter to the Department of the Interior requesting the agency allocate funding from the Big Beautiful Bill directly to local communities planning historical celebrations. Yesterday, Governor Brad Little and other state leaders gathered on the Capitol steps, joined by the Revolutionary Spuds. Over the next year, Idahoans will join the nation in celebrating a quarter millennium of American history. That's the 411 on the 208. I'm Hector Mendoza.
Take a look at some of your comments to end the week here. A lot of thoughts about this week. Sheila, though, says perhaps Mr. Bedke could call certain people in the federal government and give them his excellent advice. I think in terms of my personal conversations with people across the aisle, there's a genuine want, Republicans, Democrats, everyone in that spectrum, to turn down the political rhetoric. It's too simple to say. I would advise everyone go see what Governor Spencer Cox said in Utah following the Charlie Kirk assassination. We'll see you next week here on the 208.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.